pissed me off. Because how dare you ask me how did I get those jobs? I worked just as hard or harder than you as a black designer to get those people to agree to hire me to do the incredible work that I did.
And this girl just said, okay, I don't care. Like, the only reason you got that is because you're black.
Y'all want to be invited to the cookout? This is the cookout. This is education. This is activation. We need you here in order to invite you there. And trust me, we want to. We just got to make sure your intentions are matching your impact. So, come on, get you a plate. This is That Talk. Welcome back to That Talk. This week, we're finishing up respectability by talking about affirmative action. You see, even if we tone down our blackness, even if we're as respectable as possible, and we achieve what we want, and we demonstrate our excellence and our ability, well, we still can't win. Because then, all of that success is actually attributed to our skin color that has been seen as a threat every other time.
The 5 people were one white woman who was our valedictorian, and then 4 people of color, 3 black women and a Filipino man. And this woman, Amy, says, I don't know if she got denied or waitlisted, but she says, I mean, you only got in because of affirmative action.
I remember when I first started receiving my college acceptance letters. I received a lot of early letters, a lot of scholarship letters. I was very fortunate, but I worked hard. And I remember one of my best friends at the time, she lived a few streets away from me, literally looked me in my eye and told me, oh, you're just getting all this because you're black. And in that moment, I felt so betrayed. Like, how could this person that I thought viewed me as whole see me as only my skin color because of how she felt in that moment? Because 90% of the time, our skin is seen as a weapon, but in this time, it's also seen as a weapon against them, against their achievement, because of their insecurity.
So much so that at the end of the year, we had to do a speech for our final exam. And we had to give it in front of the class, and the class was going to be peer graders. And I still get embarrassed sharing this story, but I wrote a speech about why affirmative action is bad. And how, and I of course opened it with an MLK quote about judging people about, by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But I gave that speech because I felt like I had worked hard throughout my, K through 12 career.
For me anyway, and maybe this speaks to insecurities that I have, but you start to question your legitimacy in that place. Am I here because they were just meeting a quota?
And it's not just for school either. It's for jobs, for dating, for anything.
She says to me, okay, so yeah, tell me what some projects have you worked on over the years? I said, well, I've worked with Carl Racine, who's the current Attorney General. I did his office when he was the managing partner of the Venable Law Firm. I worked with Vince Gray. I did the executive office of the mayor. That was my claim to fame. I've done Muriel Bowser's, the first floor of her mayoral residence, which is her primary home. She says to me, how did you get those jobs? I had to pause for a moment. So what do you mean, how did I get those jobs? How do you get your jobs? She says, well, it's word of mouth. Same way. I said, you know what, I gotta get up from this conversation. I have to pee.
That just adds to the compounding stress that we're constantly under because of our skin. I like to think that I'm there because I did a great job and I met the qualifications and met the bar. But when you're constantly reminded that you're different and you're filling a certain role, and maybe it's because of statistics or tax purposes, it really does put an added burden of stress on you.
There were a lot of people who would say things like I was only elected. I was the youngest person also. I was only elected because it was an affirmative action vote, because we didn't have any black people on the council, we had to vote for West. And not understanding that, I just had the best campaign and I whooped everybody's ass. That necessarily wasn't the respect, and that level wasn't provided.
Again, blackness is such a paradox that it's a high honor, but a heavy burden, because either our skin is blamed for why we can't be treated the way we're supposed to be, we can't be seen as whole, or it becomes the only reason we achieve success.
I was appointed to the State Board of Education when I was 29 years old. I'm the department chairman at my college right now. I've heard people say those kind of things all the time, that these are, I'm the token, or I'm the individual that's only, again, given these positions because it's the quote unquote political thing to do. However, I'm secure enough to not allow their inefficiencies to stop me from understanding my true purpose.
And at the time, I had no words to articulate the betrayal or articulate how she dehumanized me and my ability and didn't look in the mirror, essentially. And that's a burden that I've carried to this day. I remember it like it was yesterday, even though it was 13 years ago.
What is meant for me is for me. And what God has blessed me with is what he's blessed me with. And the only thing that I'm responsible for doing is living out his purpose.
So whatever stresses come with this, I just take it as, this is the life that God intended for me to live. This is, he doesn't put anything on you that you can't handle. So regardless of whatever stress I have, this is just the cost of doing business. And I love leaving a legacy as a Black man in this country.
It's like when we're harmed and we mention our skin, it's seen as an excuse. But when we succeed, our skin is seen as an advantage. So how do we ever win? Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'm Javi. And as always, make sure your actions match your captions. I'll see you next week on That Talk.